this should be our last step. Let's clear everything out here. Alright, so we're going to add the repo for Grafana. Real quick, again, synopsis, video 1, prerequisites, installing Plex, and doing some basic configuration steps. Step 2 was installing Tatuli and doing some basic configuration steps. Video 3 was installing Influx and doing some prep work that may have been a little preemptive by accident. 4 was installing collect D and configuring it, making sure Influx is running and collect D is running. Step 5 was installing Telegraph and making sure that was running. And step 6, which we just did, was installing Varkin. So now we're at the point of actually installing Grafana and configuring Grafana. So we're going to follow Grafana's own directions for installing the software on the server. Bear with me here, it's taking a little while to go. Alright, well, it doesn't like the public key, so let's see here. Let's add a key. Boop. And let's try that again. Apologize for the delay here. My notes may have had that backwards, where you have to do the curl first before you do the add repository. I need elevator music. There we go. Apt update. Now, for some reason, I think my notes are a little off here. I think there was an issue with the command I'm about to run. Apt install grafana. No, yeah. For some reason, I thought there was a problem where you have to install grafana-server or grafana-enterprise or something like that, but appears I'm mistaken on that. So I'm going to go ahead and pause while this is installing, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, that's finished up. Clear our screen. And let's do a daemon-reload on this. And we're going to enable it. Come here. That'll turn it on automatically. And we're going to start the server. Okay, and that's the systemctl status grafana-server, and we're running. Awesome. Okay, now Varkin requires 2 different plugins. Grab the first one, and we'll grab the second one. And restart Grafana as it requests we do. Alright, and just make sure we're running still. And we are. Cool. So if I come over here and I say Plex, and I want to say the port is 3000. I should get, there we go. And the default login is admin, if I remember right. And then it wants you to change your password by default. So we're going to say Plex admin, submit. Okay, so here's the default Grafana setup. Now we need to add our data sources. So we're going to go to the little thing here, data sources, add data source. We set up everything as an InfluxDB. So the first thing we're going to grab is the collect D database. So we're going to come over here and we put it in the local host, which is what you see there. And we did that on 8086. And we're going to go down here to the database. We did a collect D database. And if you hit save and test, it's working, you're good. All right, so we got a data source. Go back to the data source tab. Boom, collect D. Now we're going to add another data source, another influx. This one was telegraph. So we're going to go telegraph. And again, localhost. And this database was called telegraph. And that one worked fine. Go back up here, and our last one was the Varkin database. So we're going to add another data source, another database, and we're going to call this one Varkin. And again, localhost. And it should just be, if I remember correctly, it's just Varkin. And we're good. So we go back to our databases. We have 3 data sources. Now there's nothing to display because we haven't created a dashboard. So we have to go to home, manage, and this is where we would create a dashboard. Now, there are some pre-built ones which I'll have links for. The first one is host. It's called host info. Say import, and with host info we can actually get. Actually, I'll show you. We'll do one better here. We'll go to Google, and if I go Grafana host info. Let's see here. Host overview. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. There it is. So this is what the dashboard looks like. Comes with some really cool stuff. Makes it easy for us. If you get this, there's a download JSON file. If you hit that, open it, you can copy and paste that, and that will give you a bunch of JSON text, which we can then post here. So import JSON. There's all the JSON from that file specifically. Say load, give it a name. Plex host overview. And we will import that. Oh, I'm sorry. We gotta give it a database. We want, this is for collect D, so we're gonna say collect D. And there's the information it gathered from collect D. So now we've got one dashboard up. It's got some information that I do use in mine. CPU usage, for example. Load average, for example. Network utilizations. These things come in handy as well. I don't pay disk space any real attention because, to be honest with you, although that's actually not a bad idea, maybe I will, I don't care about the space on the actual Plex server. It's a solid state drive that does nothing more than, serve Plex. The data itself lives on an NAS. But changing this / to the data directory might prove useful in terms of seeing how much data is available on the NAS at a glance. The NAS is over 20 terabytes, so I'm not too concerned from that perspective. So we're going to go back to the dashes here. And now Varkin has their own dashboard. So we're going to do another import. We're going to paste that. We're going to say load. And then we got to tell it we want to use the Varkin database. So we say, give it a name, Plex Varkin dashboard, and import. And this is our Varkin database. Now, by default, it tells you here's the database. Where's your telegraph database? It's here. Which host are you on? Plex. Is there a container? What's your movie library? So if you look, it's already populated some of the movies in here. There's 463, which is not accurate. It just hasn't pulled them all in yet. But again, this is more for some of the data I want to utilize. It kind of gives me templates, all right? Let's put it that way. So let's go back to our managed dashboards. I'm going to create a new one, all right? And what I'm going to do is keep that one open. I'll show you a trick. I go over here, I say manage, and I open this in a new tab. The reason I do that is because it gives me access to these ones without screwing with my current one. So first thing is like the host overview, for example. Let's say I'm interested in load average. All right, I come over here, I go to more, and I say copy. Then I can come back over here, and actually instead of adding, we'll say go here to add panel, and paste copied panel. Now, by default, this is going to have nothing because it's not pulling from anything. We haven't defined that. So we go to edit, and now we have the option to define things. I'm going to move a window that's in my way. Now, looking at the original dashboard, all right, not that one, this one, the three things we have: short, medium, and long. I'm more interested in short. Short is your bursts. It gives you better peaks and valleys, so you can get a much more refined look. Long is it a long time CPU usage? Generally with Plex, if you're doing transcoding hardware, which is what I do, you're not going to see medium or long CPU utilizations. You're going to see short ones because those are typically the start and stop of a movie. If you do see the other ones, you can certainly keep all of that there if you'd like. It does not matter to me. I just keep it on short. But anyway, so we got this here. Because I'm going to, I'll leave all three in place. All right. So we're going to pull that from collect D. And where host equals host, we need to set which host we're pulling this data from. All right. So we set that Plex, and we can just leave it as load average if you'd like, and we hit apply. Now we have that dashboard. Okay. If I go back over here and I say I want to look at network utilization hourly, well, let's pull network traffic actually. We do the same thing. Over here, we copy. We come over here, we say new, and we say paste. We go back in, we edit the traffic. Now, I am not so much interested in inbound traffic as I am outbound traffic. This will show you both. I don't really care. So when you're looking at these here, it'll tell you which one you're seeing and staring at. That's received, and that's out. So I'm going to delete received because I don't care. I'm going to set my host. And I'm going to apply this. And that will show me outbound traffic, which if I go back over here, there should be none really. Network traffic. And looking at sent, sent is virtually nothing. Received, there's a ton, but sent, there's virtually nothing. So that's exactly what we would expect to see there. So that gives us our outbound network traffic and so forth. Now if we come back over here, I may want to look at my hourly utilization so I can kind of get a good window over time, so to speak. Grab that, go over here, and we'll paste it. And then we'll go in, edit that, make sure it's on collect D, set our appropriate host. And again, that's actually the wrong one. I don't care about received data. I'm only interested in sent data. Because for me, living on a NAS, I'm going to pick up the NAS traffic also as far as received goes. So my receives are going to be huge. And my stens won't be. I'm more interested in what's going out to my internet than anything. That's the point of me tracking this. So we'll set that, and we say apply. And now this is outbound, this is outbound. This is also too much for one screen, so let's shrink it down a little bit. Give ourselves a little bit of real estate to work with, okay? So we got the three core things I pull, which I'm interested in. Now my screen that everybody saw monitors 2 Plex servers. I'm in the process of consolidating those, so my new dashboard doesn't even quite look like that, but you get the idea. All right, so for now we're done with this dashboard. So we can go back over here, go to our manage, and pull up the Varkin dashboard. Now let's pull some more stuff we want. Concurrent streams, CPU utilization. I mean, utilization's peaked right now. But we're actually going to snag that because I'm curious about it. So, because I do use that also, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy, we're going to come here, we're going to edit, and we're going to paste that. And now if you look here, it's because this is pulling from variables. We have to edit this, okay? Telegraph source not found. So we know it's coming from Telegraph. So we're going to go here, we're going to see Telegraph, okay? And host, we're going to set our host. Everything else we can leave as a default. Value is current and so forth. And we'll say apply. And it still says host because that's just the name. If you want to change that, you just go over here and say CPU usage. Boop, done. Okay, there's your current CPU usage. Now you can take this guy, put it over here, grab your CPU usage, and blow it up if you want, or you can leave it small and just keep that guy there. Looking at the Varkin dashboard, if there's anything else you find useful in terms of the CPU usage, you can certainly put it over there as well. So the next thing we're interested in is the number of streams we're dealing with. And is that updating? No, these aren't updating because you need to do this. Set your update threshold, 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, this screen will update now automatically, whereas before it was manual. So let's say we want to see, where are we? Users online. We're going to grab this one. We're going to copy it. Come over here, and we're going to create a new window. We're going to paste it. And again, the same thing applies. You got to edit this. Data source. Now, this one's coming from Varkin. So we go Varkin, and everything else, that's pulling it from Tatuli, which is what I said Varkin does for us. So we'll leave that one, pull it, save it. And let's say we want to see the number of streams next to that. So we can go here, we can go over and copy that one, come over here, and edit panel, insert panel. We got to modify our data source. Again, that's pulling from Varkin, so we set the Varkin one and make sure that there's nothing funky in there in terms of host names and so forth. We save that. Then we could take this guy, put it up next to it. So now you got two things. Now, if you want to be cute with it, you could turn around and say, well, how many movies do I have? Let's put that in there. So we go over here, we go more copy. We come over here, we paste, insert, and again, edit the data. Now this one, because of the name, we can just say movies, and that's coming from Varkin, so we say Varkin, and now we're good to go there. Movie library, make sure you set that. So you come over here, movies. Now it knows where to find the movies. If we don't set that, it's looking for a variable to populate the information. We're not using the variable, so we're going to get nothing there. Now let's take that and stick it underneath here, and let's keep it that way. Let's go a little bit different in the size though. And let's say you want to know your TV shows. So you can go over here, grab the TV shows one, and we'll paste that in. And once again, we edit our source. TV show name is good. Call it, it's from the Varkin database, call it that. And we have to, it's saying already here, section type show. So if the section you're utilizing is a TV show, or should I say, if the section you've named is a TV show type, it'll auto-calculate that for you. What I don't like about that is if you happen to use TV shows to organize personal media. So, for example, you create a personal media folder called wedding videos, and you want to split it up into multiple things. You can create seasons within the wedding videos and group your stuff together. Pre-wedding, during wedding, post-wedding, etc. It'll think those are shows, and it'll incorporate them in its values. So, under your section type, you can actually remove that tag and tell it that you want to do section name, and then select your TV show name. This is assuming you only have one TV show folder. I have tinkered a little bit with adding multiple, but I haven't actually really done anything with it at this point because I have a TV show and I have a 4K TV show, and they're two separate monitors. So I don't care about if, I keep all TV shows in one category. But we've added that one in, and we'll just scroll that over here, okay? So now we've got kind of a basic dashboard. We've got current number of streams, users online, how many movies and TV shows I have, my CPU usage and my load average, and network traffic. One thing I'm curious about is obviously here. What is my upload speed in the live? So we're going to grab that, we're going to copy it, and we're going to go over and we're going to paste that. And then we got to modify it and change the source. So this one's pulling from Telegraph, if you notice that. So we're going to say Telegraph. We want to change the name so we can get rid of the variable. Now if you look, we got to select host is not listed. So if that's not listed, then that is kind of concerning for me. So let's see here. I have a feeling it's not going to pull anything if I don't have that set. Let's apply it real quick. And let's look back at CPU usage. What did we have there? Host equals Plex. So it did find that under Telegraph CPU where host equals Plex. So let's do this. Let's go back to upload. And let's say default net where host equals, and let's just type it in there. And let's save this. All right. Move CPU usage here. Flex streams. Upload speed. We want this to go down here. And these are slightly too big, so let's see if I can squeeze them. Okay, and this goes back up here. It likes to rearrange your stuff when you're screwing around like this, so you know, just be ready for that. And this guy here there's just too much, so let's shrink it down a little bit. There, now it matches up better. Well, it doesn't match up better for my needs, but I mean, this is demonstrational. All right, so we got a little informational blob here. Threshold is 10. Okay, that's fine. What I don't like is that it says 0. So let's apply that. Now, just for ha-has, let's go over here and let's say Plex 32400 web. And this is probably going to run like complete garbage, because we are still indexing stuff. But let's take a movie. We'll call it Two Guns. And tell you what, while that's doing that, we can do this. htop minus u. There. So, oh, well, that'll do it. This VM doesn't have any CPU cores. I should probably give it some more. No wonder it's running so slow. So we come over here, and let's see. Boom. There we go. One stream in use. It shows you where we're dealing with, what's running as, and so forth. The upload stream sensor is still not updating correctly. Not a fan of that. So let's remove that sensor. Let's look at the Plex Varkin dashboard, which should also begin showing. There's one active stream. If we go down there, there's the active stream. And it even tells you if you want to use this guy, where the person lives. I live in Connecticut. Yay for me. Not understanding. Let's quiet that down a little bit while we do this. There we go. But the upload and download are still not accurately reflecting what's going on. And I have a feeling it's this host variable that's causing the issue. Even though it's configured, I have a feeling that's the crux of the problem here. Let's take a look. So I just paused the video and I jumped over to my live one real quick, and I think I figured it out. That's right. So if we go here, click the little pencil icon, we can edit the actual SQL query. And in mine, I did this. I took the host parameter out of the query and then applied that. And let's see if that makes a difference. Of course, specifying the data source would probably help too. Let's do one better. Let's take this one and let's put it back on my board. This way we can kind of keep everything lumped together. Edit this. Okay, interface is at 0. Yep. Coming from the telegraph source. And we're interested in the outbound. Apply. I'll rename it later on after the fact. Well, I guess, from this perspective, it really doesn't matter. I could spend hours, trying to figure it out. It's one of those little things of just copying and pasting the sensor panel. I'll tell you what, hold on one second. Let's pause this. All right, well, I'll look things over a little bit, and honestly, all of my stuff looks right. So I'm just not going to sweat this. There are other things you can use if you look at the Plex. The Tattooly Bandwidth one obviously is working fine the way it is too. And all the other ones are fine too. It's just something glitchy with these two. I reviewed the Telegraph database information and whatnot. It's all there. It's just a glitch, and it may have something to do with the fact that the system only has one core and it's not actually able to gather the data and put it in the database. It could be any number of things. So rather than chase it down, I just figure, you know what, we'll call it a day. That's all the database is. So basically, there's your thing. Then you hit save, give your database a name. We'll call it Plex. and boom, now we've got a saved database or saved display. If you're interested in making it your default one, I'm sorry, you can go back over to your settings, and let's see if I can remember what it was. Was it users? Was it preferences? There it is, home dashboard. That's where you can set which one you want as your default dashboard. When you're at that point. So yeah, that's the basics of it. Go over here to manage, and we will say this one, and let's go actually into it. And there's a favorites button. Where's the favorite one? Save dashboard setting. Oh, there it is. Favorite. Mark it as a favorite. So when you go here, look at your dashboards, it's a favorite. Doop, go there. Now you're set. Again, changing it. Go here, preferences, and go to Plex, save. And now, when you go into the page, that's the first one that's going to load for you.